Hello again, it's April here and welcome to part 2 of the first art school where I'm looking at portraits and how to improve them. In my last video we did Med's 50 heads challenge and I did a little bit of analysis to kind of see what I had done right and what I had done wrong, which I thought was a really great exercise. And now we're beginning in week 2 of the art school portraits. So the first course I'm going to do this week is from Blaise, and Blaise is I think he's an animator, he's an illustrator, he's a concept artist, he's like a wizard. I think he's all of these things, and he has a course on there right now, how to draw human anatomy for $1. I don't know if it's going to be $1 when this video comes out, and this goes all the way from the skeleton, the head, all the way down to the arms, the hands, the legs, everything. But I'm just going to be focusing on the head. And I am going to do one video a day, so watch the video and then basically go through his exercises that he does. I'm going to spend a good hour practicing those concepts in my sketchbook, and I think this will be really good because it's going to break down each of the individual parts, which I think if sometimes it's not good focusing on an individual part, because then when you come to sketch the entire face you might just be focusing on those parts and not thinking about how they all fit together. But I think because I've done 1 week of just practicing head, this is going to be really good for me. I think it'll be really good to kind of just focus on those specific things, especially ones that I have a lot of trouble with, which are noses. I absolutely hate drawing noses. I also hate drawing eyelashes. So that is week 2, and then moving on to week 3. So I've wanted to do this course for a long time from Chris Hong, Level Up Your Portrait Drawings. Okay, so I really hope I can get through that in a week and do all the exercises, and that'll be 2 solid classes that I've done, as well as looking on the YouTubes. Now I'm sure there's hundreds of courses out there, and if you guys can recommend any below, let us know so we can all have a look. These are the 2 that I know about. Chris Hong I've wanted to do forever, and Blaise I just found the other day and I thought it looked really good. So that is my plan, and that is enough talking. Let's move on to week 2. So it's been about 3 weeks since I last filmed for this video, and I've actually really enjoyed the time away from filming, just to practice and just like really get into it. I've been taking notes as I go of what I've kind of learned, what I've really feel like I've taken in and improved on, so I thought I'd share that with you now. So we are just looking at the last day of week 1, and we're going to pop into week 2 now. So week 2, and I did Blaise's tutorial first. So the first thing that I definitely learned from this week was learning kind of like how the skull sits beneath the skin. I mean, I kind of know this stuff before, but it was definitely good to refresh it. The shape of the jaw, the placement of the cheekbones, how the nose is made up of a cartilage, how the eyeballs are sunken into the sockets, so like they're inside the skull. There's quite a lot of things to think about, and he goes over everything. As you can see, I took a lot of notes, so very exciting there. I do love taking notes like this, or it makes me think I'm back in school, and I always loved school, so. And then we had a look at the individual elements, and I think this was definitely good for me. One of my goals was to have cleaner lines and better observation, which basically means really looking at what I'm seeing and not just drawing symbols like an eye symbol or a nose symbol, kind of just really taking the time to look. I'll just quickly go through. So we did eyes, and then I practiced drawing the eyes. Then we did noses, and this one was especially good for me because I hate drawing noses, especially nostrils, and it was really interesting to see all the shapes that he breaks the nose down into from the side and everything. I mean, look at that, that is one good looking nose there. So I did my nose practices. Still don't like drawing noses. I'd still rather draw a triangle if I'm honest. I actually love drawing ears. I've always loved drawing ears. I think they just look weird, and weird is fun. And then I basically just did one of these videos a day, so I would do eyes a day, ears a day, etc. until I was finished. And then onto the mouth, and probably the most important thing I took away from the mouth is, I did learn this in school because I did animation, so we had to animate quite a lot of mouths, and is that the jaw's on a hinge, and the top jaw never lifts up, also it's the bottom jaw that's moving down. When you're doing like open mouths and stuff, to remember that the jaw is on a hinge. And then another thing that was interesting was that he was saying that there's no sharp corners. So while we would draw sharp corners like this, but most of the time they would be quite soft like this, because obviously the lips are all connected around in a circle. They're not, it's not like a point that they come to. I'm drawing some mouths here, and I accidentally drew an ear because I forgot what I was drawing that day. So that was week 2, and that was basically zooming in on the different parts of the face, really taking the time to draw every aspect, get the measurements right, the angles right, and just kind of focusing on that one thing. I really think it was good to look at that as a break from looking at the entire face, because it also gives you a lot of confidence. If you can get one thing right, and you can get them all right, like I can draw an eye, I can draw a nose, I can draw an ear, all I have to do is draw all of those things in the right proportion and the right space on a face, you know, and then you have a face. I mean, that's kind of how I was looking at it. And then week 3, I was still in tutorial mode. This time we zoomed right out and we took the entire head into consideration with Chris Hong's Level Up Your Portraits. I think that's what it's called. It's on Skillshare. So again, I'm not going to go over all the notes because I don't think that's fair on Chris, because she did an amazing job on the course. But basically, the course kind of took you from really right at the beginning, blocking it in, all the way through to shading and adding little details on. And I was really mainly interested in the blocking in, because right now I'm trying to go for likeness and I'm trying to go for structure instead of making it look pretty. These 2 faces were from her course that I basically took through all the steps, blocking it in, building it up, shading it and everything. And while I was not comfortable with the shading style, I must say I did really find using the graphite pencil good. And I hate saying that because I really hate using graphite pencils. I use this mechanical pencil and it actually wasn't too bad. This shading, I'm actually really happy with how these faces turned out. I think they actually really look like the references, but again, it doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like I drew it. It feels like someone else drew it. Literally these 2 pages are week 3, but this was done a video a day, and I was kind of like using these 2 faces and taking notes and things. So yeah, a bit of a slack week. But we do move on to week 4. This is when it gets really good. So I basically took everything that I learned from week 3 and 4, and also kind of the experience that I built up just doing lots of faces over the last month. And I just focused on looking at the references and building on everything I had taken in. So I really wanted to get my blocking in right, the accuracy right with measurements and angles and stuff, and then also really focusing on the features and trying to get those a lot cleaner. I wasn't really worried so much about shadows or shading, but with Chris Hong's technique I did draw in the shadow shapes. So these are just some practices, and I'll just kind of show you them. So you can see here there's some shadow shapes like by the mouth and along the jawline, and just very rough blocking in, but I'm trying to keep my lines quite clean and get the accuracy quite good, which I think I succeeded. And then I tried to do a couple or 3 or 4 a night. These did take a lot longer than when I was doing the Meds 50 heads, because I was obviously really trying to get my accuracy right. One thing about using this pencil, you can always erase. You don't have to be scared to erase. When I was using my colored pencils, I kind of looked at it in an arrogant way, like, I don't need an eraser, I'll just draw this and I'll be fantastic. Like, that actually wasn't one of my thoughts, but you know what I mean. When I was drawing these colored ones, it's almost like you're daring yourself to go wrong, you know, like, I dare you to go wrong because you're not going to be able to fix this. And you can see the accuracy, the shading, everything is so much difference between taking my time, really looking at what I'm doing. And at some points, I literally would erase half the face and just draw it again. Sometimes that's just what you gotta do. This guy here looks so drunk. I swear I copied the reference. He just looks so drunk. And these ones I'm really happy with. I did these all in one night, and I was quite warmed up at this point, so I think these ones turned out pretty well. I still have quite a lot of trouble with drawing the kind of I want to call it like advanced 3/4, where this is more of a 3, I don't know, it's like a 3/4 that's more turned, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm starting to bring in a little bit of shade in here, kind of like Chris Hong's line shading that she shows in her course, which I'm not really familiar with. But because I was using this pencil and I was finding I was taking so much time when I was trying to be so accurate, I was a bit scared to go back to using colored pencil again and doing it in kind of the style that I would normally do it in. And this is last night, so this is like last day of week 4. I don't know, this is not a very good page to end on. I think this lady turned out right, and this is the lady that I literally erased this bottom half of the face and redrew it because it was too long. This one here took a long time, and I think her eyes still aren't right. And this, I don't know, I think I just messed this face up. I got halfway through this picture and I just gave up for the night. So I think maybe I was just a little bit tired. Not tired of drawing faces, I'm still really enjoying it, but just a little bit like burnt out with drawing them because I had done quite a lot this week. But yeah, I'm really happy with how week 4 went. Would have been nice to draw more faces, but as I said, they took a lot of time. And now there's only one thing left to do. So with everything that I've taken in over the last month, I need to go back in time to day 1 and draw this lady again. So I'm going to draw her now. I'm going to take my time. I'll probably draw it with the mechanical pencil, but I might try and go in after with some colored pencil and shade it in a little bit. But yeah, let's see how it goes. You know what? I have no idea where this is on Pinterest, so that's my first challenge. Find the reference image. So I thought I'd quickly take a pause and kind of go over my thought process for the block-in so far. So this is kind of just going over lots of things that I have taken in over the last few months, including Chris Hong's Skillshare course, which her block-in section of that I found really helpful, and also looking at the features from Aaron Blaise's course too. That was super helpful as well. So basically, a lot of people start with the circle or like the face shape. I always find as soon as I start with the face shape and then put the features into the face, I've always done the face wrong. So normally I just start it, because you have to start somewhere. You have to put a line on the page, otherwise you're just gonna be there all day staring at the page. So I just put a line on, kind of work out the shape of the face, and then I start putting the features on. And before I did this, I always used to start with like the nose normally, and I find I'm doing that now still, so still keeping that habit. So I normally start with the eyebrows, like the bridge of the nose shape, and then try and kind of get the nose size right, and then work out from there. These big sockets here are from Chris Hong when she does the eye sockets, which I found actually really helpful. Just also starting with the eyebrow and kind of getting that shape. And then other little things that I'm trying to think about is getting the measurements right between the eyebrow and the top of the eye, the corner of the eye to the nose, and then also the pupil to the corners of each eye. So getting like this shape accurate here. That's kind of my thought process when I'm doing it. So right now I think I'm going to try and fix the mouth, because I still don't think it's right, but everything else looks okay to me right now. So I think I'm going to maybe start shading with colored pencil. That is the final, and now that I've done it with coloured pencil, I know I haven't shaded it in properly, but I don't know, I kind of missed the mechanical pencil. It kind of feels like I've not ruined it, but taken it from being quite like a good sketch to being like a cartoon again. I don't know if that makes sense. But let's take the board away, because I think you have a bit of a skewed version right now. This is what I'm looking at, and I'll just pop the reference beside it. So I think I've definitely drawn it a little short. Let's have a look at the original. I really hope that I've gotten better. So this is the first one. I actually think the length of this one's a little bit better. Yeah, this one's like super squished. Oh, that's disappointing. When the after one is a little bit better than the first one. I think the features are a little bit more defined in this one. And I definitely took my time drawing it more. And when you look at some of these sketches, like if we were to look at this page and like this page, you can definitely see that I have improved sketching. I think it's just the refining that I need to work on now, but I'm really happy with the progress I've made just with blocking in. You got good days, you got bad days, and I think this is okay. It's just a little bit short, I think. I don't know how I did that because I was trying to measure it perfectly. I'm just very curious to see what these faces look like compared to the photo. So actually, it's pretty perfect. I mean, I think it looks a bit derpy just because the way I did the eyes, something about them seems off to me. I think it's the size of the pupils. So let's look at this one. And I was going to just pretend I didn't do this and do another one because I thought it just looked really bad that it was worse than the first one. Like you would expect after a month of drawing that it would be better, but I didn't want to lie. So it looks like I got the eyes in a good position, I got the eyebrows in a good position, I got the shape of the face, and yes, it's a lot, it's way too short. See how much shorter this is? And this looks like it started with the nose, so the nose is too short. And I'll show you, this is basically what happens when you have one element that's out. So if I bring the nose down to where it should be, you can see the lips are kind of good, the chin's kind of good, even the ear's good, but you bring the eyes up again, everything's out of whack. And you know, the top of the head, I mean, everything is just really shortened. So that's quite disappointing because I was kind of hoping that it would be good, like it would be a lot better, you know, than the first one. So yeah, you can see I was a lot off there. So I'm not really sure what to tell you. Looks like improving your drawing makes you worse. And that's the takeaway from this entire month. That's an interesting effect, isn't it? Hello again, it's Future April here, and we have now come to the end of the video. I didn't end up drawing this after picture again just because I've been so busy the last couple of weeks relaxing. So sometimes you gotta relax and sometimes you gotta draw portraits. But I think what I would do is continue to keep practicing, and maybe in another month we'll have a little update and see how far I've come along. In the meantime, I'm thinking about my next art school. So hopefully that will be coming out in a couple of months, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and learned some tips or just were entertained. I'll pop in a link of resources in the description below, so make sure you check them out and let us know if you have any resources to share. So have a lovely weekend, and I will see you on Monday for the vlog. Thanks for watching. Bye.